right, Wednesday evening, everyone. It's the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video. We have certainly a very quiet forecast for the next week or so, with just one exception. That's a rain chance coming up Friday night into Saturday, which of course we'll detail in this video. But first of all, let's talk about today's weather, which was bright but cool. Impressively cool, considering the sun is as strong at this time of the year as it is at the end of July and early August. We failed to get out of the 50s officially at the airport today, despite full sunshine for the midday and afternoon today, with that strong May sun, high sun angle. It's really quite a feat to be this much cooler than average. 12 degrees cooler than average locally. 17 was the number in Erie, and Cleveland at 16 degrees below the average this afternoon. You may notice a little haze in the sky this evening. We're actually being visited by a little bit of this wildfire smoke, which may become a little bit more of a factor in our sky heading into the daylight hours tomorrow. Now, it'll probably be thickest still over parts of Michigan and then south of the Ohio River, but I think there'll be enough haze or smoke high in the sky tomorrow to make the sky look a little bit milky, not quite as blue as it was for a lot of the day today. All right, otherwise, the story, of course, is the cold for tonight and tomorrow morning. Frost advisories issued by the National Weather Service office in Cleveland. Now, Pittsburgh issued freeze warnings for areas that they expect near to below freezing temperature, so basically the I-80 corridor and north. They did not issue a frost advisory for the rest of their counties, the thinking being that the ground and the air are dry, and that will prevent widespread frost formation. That may end up being the right idea, but that was kind of the difference that you see here on the map. The Pittsburgh Weather Service office decided not to issue frost advisories for most of their area, while Cleveland did. We'll see what happens tomorrow morning. What's going to happen temperature-wise, pretty easy to predict. It'll be cold. We're talking about, on average, 34, 35, but there's going to be some colder, sheltered valleys that see 32 or 33 probably in the morning. Not only Mahoning County, but up into Trumbull as well. Some of these sheltered valleys up through here may, especially west of Mosquito Lake, you might see a 32-degree reading first thing tomorrow morning. Over in Mercer County, the river valleys will be a little bit colder than some of the higher terrain, but on average 34 or 35 degrees. Same idea down in Columbiana County, right along the Ohio River, downtown East Liverpool, over towards Wellsville. It probably won't drop out of the upper 30s first thing in the morning, but just inland from the river, up towards Glenmore, Calcutta, Laycroft, heading up towards the West Point area, and certainly over towards Lisbon. And, some of the lower-lying sheltered valleys, you could see a 32 or 33-degree reading first thing tomorrow morning. So, bundle up, but the afternoon will be warmer than today, thanks to a change in the wind direction tomorrow. We had a straight northerly wind today. Tomorrow it's a little more of an east-southeast wind. That'll make for a more seasonable Thursday across the area after that cold start. Friday looks pretty uneventful, pretty mild, but clouds will tend to increase late in the day. And speaking of late in the day Friday, there could be a shower here and there. We'll show you a model simulation here of our weather over the next couple of days. Of course, we're quiet through Thursday night and into the daylight hours on Friday. A little bit cloudier now. Our in-house model here tries to spin up a shower here and there by midday. Not ready to buy that just yet. But could there be a late day, evening-ish shower? Yes, but the higher rain chances certainly will be overnight and into Saturday morning. Now, if you have plans for the weekend, know that the wettest part of the weekend will likely be during the first hour or two of daylight Saturday morning. The rain might shut down pretty quickly Saturday morning. If it does, pretty good afternoon. If it looks a little more sluggish, we may have wet weather to contend with through about midday, but I do think that rain chances will decrease as we get into Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. That's really the only chance for rain over the next week. We're probably looking at maybe up to a half an inch or so worth of rain. I know the Euro here, the purple line, shows a little bit more. Let's go back to that. I didn't want to skip past that quite that quickly. Here's a look at model rainfall totals over the next 7 days. The purple line's the European model, up closer to an inch. Most of our other modeling is a little bit closer to a half an inch, but that's it for rain, I think, for the next week to maybe even 9 or 10 days. Notice the lines flatline after that. And so, I think it's, increasingly likely that we're going to be talking more and more about how dry things are getting as we head up into the last week or so of May. And speaking of that time period, the run-up to Memorial Day is looking warm. When you consider our average highs are in the lower and eventually middle 70s from now through the start of Memorial Day weekend. When we're talking about a plus 11, plus 12, plus 13, that puts us with highs in the lower and middle 80s. I think that's looking increasingly likely. Still too early to talk about precipitation for Memorial Day weekend. Today's only the 17th after all, but we can pick out temperature trends this far out, and it looks like a pretty good bet that it's going to be pretty toasty as we head towards that long holiday weekend coming up in about 10 days or so. In the meantime, thanks for watching weather for Weather Geeks this evening. I'll see you right back here in this same place that you're watching this video on Thursday.